Well, so Bebop, what year were you drafted?
I was drafted in 42.
Okay.
This is 44.
So this is all happening during World War II?
Yes. And now let's see. You were back on now?
Yes.
Okay. The first, I guess, noteworthy, one of the bases we had was in Arkansas, and it was in the rice country. And the base was right in the middle of the rice country, so the mosquitoes were awful. And the barracks, we had to sleep with the nets over us on the beds to keep the bees, keep the mosquitoes off, and that's true with Madeline and Betty. But we did have I was able to get scrap wood, and we made a nice little yard for Madeline to travel around in, and a little picnic table for her, that sort of thing. And we were able to use the theater that they had, base had, and saw some movies to entertain us. And in fact, Pressburg, Captain Preston I mentioned, he and I got some tennis rackets somehow and got to play some tennis a little bit, just to do something. We went there was nothing here to do. And there's also a German POW camp right at that same place. And they found in the German population were two bakers. They were wonderful bakers anyway. And you paid them something like 80 cents a day. And they were anxious to get out to come and be in our mess hall. They made some of the best food you ever ate, sweet stuff, cinnamon rolls and that type of thing. But for every meal. And actually you had to have a ticket to get in our mess hall, or else anybody else in the whole camp would be coming into our mess hall. So that was a very nice, pleasant experience. I guess we had omitted mentioning about Betty's mother had died, and she had to go back to Des Moines to the funeral and so on. But she took it in stride, and she took I'm not sure how she did the baby then. Along with the rest of this, my brother was in the Marines, and he was in Guadalcanal and fighting in the war there. He was a couple of years younger than I was, but he did not get injured. He was very fortunate. And then the next thing we knew, the war was going to be ending. Well, one thing that I didn't mention either is when one of these bases, one of the generals got the idea that to train the troops a little bit, they ought to have gas mask training. And of course, they're still in a war. It's been a long time since I've had any training in gas mask or in the gas chamber exercise. So I get out there and the troops are massed, and I'm given we have a building that we're going to use for the chamber, gas chamber, and we had a cylinder of chlorine, and we in there and we build up a concentration, turn it on there and to build up, close the door, and just start talking to the troops. giving them all the information about how we're going to do this. We're going to you go into the chamber with your mask in the case and open the door and go in, and then you get inside. You hold your breath and put your mask on, and that way you also can check to make you see that your mask works, because the bad part of this is normally you have a sergeant or somebody comes along and helps you take care of some of the details, and I had gone on and on, probably talked a lot longer because I was real anxious to do the job. And I walked into I was leading the troops in. I opened the door, and there was a huge concentration of chlorine, and I got a snoot full, and I backed out right away, got out of there. The thing was still building concentration. We did not shut it off. I had no help to do it. I was a green second lieutenant. At any rate, I ended up in the hospital that night to get in a steam tent, coughing my guts out, and they finally got me cleared away. And I was surprised that there never was an investigation into that at all. Nobody ever replied or said a thing about it. So I was glad to get out of that mess. But at any rate, along about that time, the atomic bombs had gone off, and we were getting out of the war. I mean, now this, you think about it, everybody ought to be jump on a train and go home, but that's not the way it is. When there's millions of people involved, they have to be processed out. It takes a couple of weeks to get you to a displacement center and go through the red tape of getting checked. Make sure you have to have a physical. They don't want you getting out and coming back at us for being out of shape or something because of the Army, and so on and so forth. And at any rate, we passed through that pretty good. But in the meantime, Betty went back to Des Moines, and with Madeline on the train, and I had to go to North Carolina to a place that processes me out to get out. Now wait a minute, somehow I'm messing up. At any rate, we got out of the Army, and Betty got to stop in Washington on